For years, my husband and I shared a connection that felt unbreakable, built on love, mutual admiration, and a bond that seemed capable of enduring anything. Our days were filled with laughter, our evenings enriched with conversation, and our lives intertwined in a way that felt natural and deeply satisfying. However, just weeks ago, I made a mistake so serious that it seems to have cracked the very foundation of our relationship, leaving me struggling with guilt and the realization of how delicate even the strongest connections can be. It was a night like many others. One of those evenings when we both felt carefree, the effects of alcohol and marijuana loosening our inhibitions and intensifying our usual playful banter. We laughed together, basking in the ease of our connection, when he teasingly asked a question meant to be lighthearted and flirtatious. "Do you want something big?" he asked, his words laced with humor and a hint of intimacy. It was the type of moment that would normally have been met with a cheeky reply or a fond laugh. Instead, what I said next would change everything. Without thinking, without filtering my words, I responded with a careless remark. Something bigger would be nice. The moment the words left my mouth, I felt their weight. They weren't planned, they weren't meant to hurt him, and they certainly didn't reflect my true feelings. Yet, there they were, hanging in the air between us, cutting deeper than I could have imagined. In an instant, our playful mood evaporated, his expression shifted, and the warmth in his eyes was replaced by something resembling betrayal. My thoughtless comment, unintentional as it was, seemed to imply that he wasn't enough, that I had somehow settled for less than I truly wanted. It was a cruel suggestion I never intended to convey, but the damage had already been done. I love my husband deeply. I chose him because he is the person I want to spend my life with, and I have never doubted that choice. Yet, that careless remark, a fleeting moment of thoughtlessness, has caused a rift I never saw coming. Since that night, everything between us has shifted. The man who once greeted me with warmth and affection now seems distant, retreating behind a wall I can't seem to break through. The easy, natural closeness we once shared has been replaced by an unfamiliar silence. Our evenings, once filled with laughter and intimate conversations, are now marked by strained exchanges or no words at all. He spends most of his time in the garage now, a space that was once a refuge for hobbies but has become a retreat from me. It's where he goes to escape the pain I caused. The small gestures that once defined our love, holding hands, a kiss on the forehead, sitting close, have disappeared. Even our physical intimacy, which once reflected the deep emotional bond we shared, has completely vanished. He has shut me out in every way, and I feel helpless to reach him. I've apologized countless times, trying to express the depth of my regret and sorrow for my thoughtless words. I've told him how much he means to me, how much I value and love him, but my apologies seem hollow. He says they feel rehearsed, as if I'm simply trying to fix things without truly understanding the hurt I caused. Worst of all, he believes my comment confirmed his worst fears, that I've always seen him as inadequate, that I was never truly satisfied, and that my love and affection were never genuine. None of this is true, but I can't seem to convince him of that. Now, when I look into his eyes, I see the pain I've caused staring back at me. My careless remark has become a shadow over our relationship, a constant reminder of his insecurities and fears. It echoes between us, growing louder with each passing day, and I don't know how to make it stop. I don't know how to undo the damage I've done, or how to rebuild the trust and closeness we once shared. All I know is that I love him more than anything, and I'm terrified that my mistake may have cost me the one person I never wanted to lose. I propose that we seek help from a marriage counselor, hoping the expertise of a professional could guide us through the storm we found ourselves in. But he rejected the idea firmly, as if he had already concluded there was no way forward for us. Feeling completely lost and desperate to mend what I had broken, I decided to take the first step on my own. I sought therapy, pouring out my heart to the counselor, revisiting every moment. The instant my careless words slipped out, the pain they caused, his reaction, and the painful distance that had crept into our lives since. Her response was difficult to hear. She explained that there are wounds that love and time cannot heal, and some relationships don't survive moments like this. She encouraged me to prepare for the possibility of separation, a future I couldn't bear to imagine. However, she also gave me advice for the present, stressing that actions speak louder than words. She suggested that I show my love through quiet, consistent gestures and avoid pressuring him to talk until he was ready. Her advice was to create a sense of normalcy, to let my actions quietly rebuild what my words had torn apart. I took her words to heart, trying each day to put them into practice. I smiled at him when he walked through the door, even when his eyes didn't meet mine. I gently reminded him that I loved him, even when he didn't say it back. I tried to reintroduce some sense of normalcy into our home, hoping my actions would speak louder than the apology he no longer believed in. But his behavior remained distant, unyielding. It was as though he had built a wall around himself, leaving me helpless on the other side, unable to reach him. One morning, overwhelmed by guilt and sorrow, I broke down, tears streaming down my face. I begged him to talk to me, to let me in. His response was devastating. He told me to stop trying, that he no longer cared. Then, he delivered a blow I hadn't anticipated. He said the only reason he hadn't filed for divorce was to avoid losing the house and his savings. His words pierced me deeply, and it felt like my world was crumbling. Through my sobs, I tried to explain that my remark had been a mistake, that I loved him and regretted everything. But he silenced me with a sharp command to leave him alone. In that moment, I truly grasped the weight of what I had done, and for the first time, I started to accept that our marriage might not survive. The life we had built together, the love that once felt unbreakable, now seemed impossibly fragile. I was drowning in the realization that I might lose the man I loved more than anything. Then, just days later, something shifted. Late one evening, he came to me, tears flowing down his face. His vulnerability took me by surprise, and for the first time in weeks, I saw a glimpse of the man I had always known. He confessed, through trembling words, that he still loved me. He expressed regret for some of the harsh things he had said, acknowledging that his pain had led him to lash out in ways he wished he hadn't. He told me that, despite everything, he didn't want to end our marriage, but his honesty came with a price. He admitted that he was still deeply hurt, that the wound I had caused hadn't healed, and he needed time. Time to process his emotions, time to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. He asked for space, and though it was painful, I agreed. The road ahead feels uncertain, and I know it will be filled with challenges. The damage caused by my words runs deep, and healing will require patience, understanding, and the slow rebuilding of the foundation we once stood on. This experience has taught me an unforgettable lesson about the power of words. How something said in a careless moment can leave scars that linger far beyond the moment itself, even when no harm was intended. For now, I'm focusing on what I can control, showing my love through actions, proving my commitment in every way I know how. I'm determined not to give up on us. I still believe in the strength of our bond, in the love that brought us together, and in the man I married. He's worth fighting for, and so is the life we've built. Whatever it takes, I'm ready to face the challenges ahead because I refuse to let one mistake define the future of our love.